Well, good afternoon. I'm Howard Fulmer, and it's my pleasure to serve at Troy University as the Associate Provost and Dean of Undergraduate and First-Year Studies. And we're glad that you've joined us today. We're going to have an opportunity to visit and to present some material as a part of a workshop on online teaching, and particularly for those people who have not yet taught an online class. It may be that you taught very little, and now you're moving into an online environment, or it may very well be that you're a longtime teacher who has now moved into an online environment. But in either case, we're going to discuss what it means to be teaching through our eTroy. And as soon as I get the slides to advance, I will. Well, those are not one too early. Okay, let's try that. No, we're still not moving them. You want to get me some right there? Yep, right there is not moving them. Person's not moving them. All right. Thank you. We're off to a flying start here. Thank you, Muted. Thank you, Muted. All right, we're going to try it again. Thank you. Here's really our guiding principle for our discussion today. And that is that the online class is not the same as a traditional class. You're going to hear me say a couple of times, you just can't take the material as you have them in a traditional class. Maybe you've developed it over a number of years, and you are very comfortable with how you present that. You can't just pick that up kind of like you're going to put it on a crane and lift it out of your traditional class and drop it into an online environment. It doesn't work that way. The online class, as you can see in this slide, really is a unique way to deliver a course to students that are separated. They're separated by time and space from the instructor. And in fact, there are different physiological and psychological functions that are at work for both the students. Let's try that. There are some physiological and psychological differences that are important to the teaching of an online class. Deborah, you want to help me move the
Well, colleagues, we are having some technical difficulties here.
This is a classical demonstration. Okay. All right, well, speaking of which, here we go. What are the characteristics of a traditional class? Well, if you taught it all in a traditional class, you know what these are. You have very fixed physical locations. You show up at the same place, at the same time, on the same days to deliver the content of your course, and these are in very specific physical places. You also know that in an online class you have really a full open channel of communication. You can see the students, you can hear the students. You're aware not only of the verbal communication, but the nonverbal and the paraverbal. You have a full range of information that comes to you in a traditional class. And as the instructor, you can control what we call noise-to-signal ratio. You can control most of the noise in the classroom. You can shut the door. You can perhaps turn off the noisy air conditioner. You can ask the students to be quiet. All of that controls the noise in the environment. The class is delivered in a very fixed time period. It's going to meet for a particular number of minutes on a particular number of days. And the context of teaching online, or teaching in a classroom, is well understood because the students that we have are students who have spent pretty much their entire life, from a time that originates in preschool right through the time that they're in your college classroom, understanding what students do in classes, that they come in, they sit down, and in some fashion, hopefully, they prepare to receive information. There's also a very recognizable frame of reference. There's a roll call teacher. There's a roll call student. And those have been established over a long period of time. So the traditional class in 2015 bears a very strong resemblance to how classes were delivered really in the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. We've added some technology in the sense that there were overhead projectors that were put into play, and there were cassette recorders and record players, and now we can project an image on a screen to make a point during a lecture, but that traditional class pretty much looks the same. And the principal model for it is that you have an active faculty member who's dispensing information to a passive audience. While there may be some variations on that in some particular classes, by and large, a traditional class works in a kind of one-way arrow for communication from active to passive. So here's a recap. What are traditional classes? Well, they are marked by what we would call sages on the stages, people who come out and perform, provide information, and sometimes a little entertainment. We dispense that information to passive student learners, and we do it in very controlled environments. Not unlike when you see a theatrical production or a stage play or a concert or something like that. Now, the online class doesn't look like that. The online class starts with the idea that there is distance. There's a physical distance, and it's not just an obvious thing. If you look at how an accrediting agency talks about an online class, it's any class where the students are physically separated from the instructor, and so there's a physical distance. I've taught the Capstone course in our master's program in strategic communication. I've had students from Maine, I've had students from Minnesota, from Oklahoma, and those are students who are at a distance, and as a result, there's a different kind of context for them and a different culture for them, and often there's a different time zone for them. And so there's a physical distance. There's also what I call a cybernetic distance. There's a technological distance, and technology, as wonderful as it is, always introduces a kind of distance. If you talk to a person one-on-one, that's a different kind of communication than if you're talking to them over a telephone, over a radio or television transmission, or in something like we use Blackboard. And as a result, there's a psychological distance as well. Students often feel more separated from the class because of these other variables that are at work. Typically, it's not in any kind of real time. It's an asynchronous. That means I put material up, students read it at some later time, they respond, and I respond to them after that. The channels of communication are limited, typically to verbal, which would be a kind of linguistic channel where we can see words. Occasionally, we will see images, but it's fairly restricted, and it's a little reminiscent of the early days of email, where to try to convey emotion, we wrote in all caps, or we used smiley faces, or something like that, because we recognize that we're not getting the full channel. We have very limited control over context and noise, and so we deliver material in a fashion where the person who's opening it up and receiving it may in fact be at their home with several young children who are playing in the same room, and there's a lot of physical noise, or they're trying to do this late at night after they put the children to bed. There's a lot of psychological noise. We don't control that environment. And the frames of reference are not always real clear either. The notion of teacher or even a student in an online environment undergoes some shifts, and the environment as a whole sometimes is a little uncertain or unclear. A lot of people, particularly younger students, think that if they have mastered the art of texting and they can navigate Facebook, then they can certainly handle an online class. And as we're going to see, and as you might already anticipate, that's not true. So here's some things we want to remember. First of all, as the instructor, you can't control the learning environment. So there are a number of variables that come into play that are real important. One of these is redundancy. One of these is an effort to seek feedback from the students so that you're trying to test and make sure that they're getting what you're providing. There's a constant effort to engage the students so that you can overcome some of this ambiguity about the learning environment. The technology that makes it all possible sometimes gets in the way. And so if a student or you as the instructor get frustrated because there's a part of the technology that's not working because it's not real clear to you, or in fact it's just simply not working, the technology issue becomes the focus and the learning becomes secondary, and that creates potential problem solving. The other thing that's important to remember is that you really have to have a different set of teaching skills. And the students are going to have a different set of learning skills. And this is that theme, that thread that I'm pulling all the way through the portion that I have today, and that is online teaching, online learning, online classes are different. They are not simply a high-tech version of a traditional class. They're a different way of thinking about learning. You can't simply relocate your course content. I can't take what I've done and sort of hoist it up and drop it in and think that it's working. It is a new way to think about you as a professor, about the student as a learner, and about your content. And the students very much have to be self-motivated. In many instances, students in traditional classes sometimes can float by and get enough to get a grade that passes them on to the next sequence of classes, but none work that way very well in online classes. What's important about online classes, particularly as you deliver those and as they're constructed, the design of the class will shape the learning of the content. And so if you think about the design of a traditional class, it's you as the instructor typically standing up and presenting material in some sort of block fashion. Occasionally you're engaging the class with some dynamic activity, but often it's just the presentation of material. In an online class, how we design the learning activities and how we design the assessment activities and how we design the class as a whole really will impact how the students learn. And so you as a professor become a facilitator of learning. In fact, you have to be an engaged facilitator of learning. And in the process, you then have to assess the learning that the students are generating. And so we move from what the word professor often means, I profess these facts to be true, to a role of facilitator where we facilitate learning, because it's more than just professing. You really do have to create, and sometimes you have to provoke an active engagement on the part of the students through the way that you've designed the course. And it's that creation and provocation that will help the students be successful and the class to be successful. So, what do we have in an online course? Well, first of all, we have an amazing array of multimedia learning opportunities. There's so much that you can put into an online course that opens up for the students so many different ways to learn. And we need to take full range of those opportunities as we design the courses. The literature that we have right now is that people who learn online actually are engaging in a different kind of brain function, a different neural function is taking place. So it's not just a different psychology, which is marked by a separation of the student from the teacher. It's a different physiology. The brain is firing in a different way when we learn online. And that's true about reading. If you read online versus reading in a traditional fashion, you're engaging in different kinds of neural activity. And the online course design really has to be a partnership between you as the content and assessment expert and our course design experts that are in Troy. That's a really important partnership. And we should take full advantage of things like the Trojan Cafe, as we'll hear a little bit about later, which is designed to create the kind of engagement through this partnership that will help our students succeed. So here are the challenges if you're going to teach online, and you're teaching online either for the first time now or you will in Q2. The academic term explodes in terms of speed. It moves so quickly. Traditional semester, there are periods of time where you can kind of drift or sort of float, but not in an academic term. It is very much a speeding bullet. And you have to decide how many assessed assignments am I going to have versus learning activities. And those don't have to be a one-to-one match. In fact, you should really have more learning activities and out of that some assessed activities. And you have to think of yourself as a kind of cyborg. Most of us who have been trained to be traditional teachers see technology as a kind of add-on piece to our class. You know, I remember when overhead projectors were kind of really a high-tech thing that we had in our classroom, but it was an add-on. In an online environment, you and the technology really have to be, the same thing so that you can deliver effectively. You have to be okay with that, and you have to embrace that, and that's the sidewalk piece. You have to understand this different type of learning. You have to find ways to open up communication channels. You have to navigate the technology with the assistance of our eTroy staff, as well as help the students understand how to navigate it. You have to understand the students probably think if it's online, it's easy. I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to stay in my PJs. When as a matter of fact, that's not true. Students who do well online do well because they're disciplined and organized and self-motivated. Have to think differently about class content and student learning. We have to think differently about how we assist students with learning issues. And we have to continually look for ways to engage the student when they sit out there in what is very much a virtual setting. Now, here's what doesn't change. Good instructors in online classes are involved and interested and interesting. That's true with traditional classes. They have a commitment to student learning. They understand their course content. They understand student learners are individuals. I think one of the challenges in an online course, because of the distance that occurs, the kind of technical distance, is that student learners often become a kind of group. They don't even pick up in those groups. They're individuals, just like those individuals that sit in your traditional classes. Teaching and learning is evolutionary from the start of the term to the end, and from one term to the next, and it's true in an online environment. I'm a better teacher today online than I was the first time I taught, because I'm learning how to do that. And I'm learning that after having been a teacher for 30 years. And it's kind of an interesting activity to go through. And don't forget that there are very good practices for updating materials and updating assessment measures. And, it's easy in an online course to keep rolling the course. Just like it's easy to break out the legal pad and keep lecturing off the same notes. But at some point, that doesn't engage the students, and ultimately it's not a successful learning experience. So here's a final thought as we kick off today. Good online classes are, first and foremost, good classes. Period. And good online instructors are, first and foremost, good instructors. Student learning, whether you're in a classroom or an online class, is about engaging and facilitating a process that does more than memorize information. Student learning is about how knowledge is connected, how it evolves, how it's useful. That's true for an online class just like it is in a traditional class. The difference is that the thinking and learning is occurring in a different fashion. I'm going to turn it over to our Associate Vice Chancellor for Distance Learning, Dr. Glenn Chavis.
Thanks, Dr. Fulmer. I appreciate that opening comments and opening section there. I think we got everybody off to a good start, and I want to thank the staff that we all here today to put this presentation on. They've done a great job, and it's my real privilege to work with them every day in providing support for eTroy. Today, I'll talk a little bit about eTroy and just give us a brief introduction to who we are, and then they'll talk about their departments a little bit, and a little bit about the industry of online learning itself. And as Dr. Fulmer said, faculty members bring knowledge and skills to the classroom. Our job is to help you provide that knowledge to students in a better way, to give you the tools that you need and the techniques that you can use to provide good instruction. Now, we're organized underneath Dr. John Dew, the Student Services Administration Senior Vice Chancellor, under Global Campus for Dr. John Jeffrey, and we've got two parts within eTroy, the distance learning section, and then we've got the operations section that handles all the operations around various global campus sites. Distance education has existed at Troy for quite a while. In fact, we started back in the early 1950s working with the military around various places. And then really got into it in 1995, and that's an important date, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit more. But we really got started off in 1999 with the Distance Learning Center, and we've got a lot of accolades for what we do. However, we haven't just rested on our laurels. We've looked to see what we need to do in the future, and so we restructured eTroy in 2014 in May to be prepared for the future. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the marketplace itself with online learning. Right now, there are 4,000 public and private universities around the country. 3/4 of them are involved in online learning. We also recognize that there are some things that have not changed in higher education. The need for a degree has remained relevant, Sometimes you'll hear pundits talk about the need is going away, but employers still want people that have degrees because it proves that they can set a goal and achieve it. And hopefully we develop that critical thinking skills for those students. Parents and students who are adults demand accountability. They want to see what's going on. They want that transparency. And we have to drive the price down. Everyone has seen the headlines and probably read the articles about the high cost of higher education. We've got to continue to find ways to drive that cost down, and online learning is one way of doing that. And also, people probably are fully aware of what's going on with public funding. The fact that 40 years ago or so, public institutions were largely funded by their states. That's not true anymore. We are down to around 18% state funding, and that's true across the nation. So it's a very tough market to be in because there's a lot of suppliers and demand has changed. Now this chart gives you an idea of what's going on with the number of folks involved in online learning. Back in 1995, as I mentioned earlier when we started, across the nation there were just under 7,000 people taking online classes. That number has grown to over 3 million this year, and the projections are that it will continue to grow as time passes. Now, we are in a little bit of a slump right now, and that's caused by a couple of things. For one thing, the baby boomers either have their education, they're getting it right now, or they're not going to get it. And so that large group of folks that were formerly our students, or currently our students, will be moving out of the marketplace, so to speak. However, the millennials will be coming in, especially the second generation millennials. Now again, that large growth is predicated on the fact that employers are going to need people with a college degree. So there is some hope on the horizon, but we are in a bit of a downturn right now. And what's happening is that all those suppliers that came in the early years now have reached a point where it's become very competitive. Here at Troy, we have to remain competitive. It's just going to be important to do that. And we currently have 63 online programs. We need more. And we have about half the students in Troy University that are online. Now, to help the faculty, we have a support philosophy within eTroy. Basically, our philosophy is to be concerned about the student, the non-traditional learner that Dr. Fulmer explained earlier. And we want to be student-centric when it comes to that. But we also want to be able to support the faculty because you guys are on the front lines. Y'all are out there providing the education to the students, and so we need to be able to provide you the information to help you bring those skills forward. For example, we want to be able to have a course that, a program we'll talk about a little later when Dr. Fortune talks. In that program with the Teaching Center, we'll not only talk about how you do that, but why, so that you'll have informed practice. We also want to have the systems that will support you, and that's not just the hardware and software, but also instructional design and academic support that we can provide the best possible education to our students. We do these things, and we believe that we can help you as the faculty provide the best possible education to the students. So we restructured our organization a little bit in all those lines with faculty and education assistance support and student support. And as you can see, we divided up like this with global campus student services and academic support, which Mr. Ron Greer will talk about shortly in one area. And we've got the e-teaching center, instructional design, and educational technology under system support. Again, here are the main points, is that we cannot rest on our laurels. The very best value-work company in the United States still went out of business. And in this very competitive market, we have to have a differentiator between us and everybody else. We believe that to do that, we must remain student-centric, and also we must be thinking about what the employer wants and become student and employer-centric. We've got to be friendly to innovation. We've got to seek out, look for new things that we can do that will make us different from everybody else. We've got to pick up the pace for implementation. We can't let it take 2, 3, or 4 years to develop something. We've got to move quickly on it. We've got to be willing to try many things and find that one successful thing so that we're tolerant towards failure. And we in Detroit believe that we not only need to meet your expectations, we want to exceed them. Now, one of the ways we're going to do that, for example, is we're going to set up a team between educational technology and instructional design that will look for new, innovative ways to operate in the classroom and do things that they can do for you. We'll have this joint research. The reason we're putting these together is that you can't have just good instructional design or just good educational technology when it comes to being innovative. They have to work together. So, during the presentation today, if you have questions, feel free to type in your questions in the chat area. And afterwards, there will be an opportunity for a very short survey, and we really would like you to fill that out when you're done. And I'll turn it over now to Dr. Fortune.
Thank you, Dr. Kevin. Good afternoon, colleagues. It is a great day to be a Trojan at Troy University. I'm so glad that you're with us. I believe we have 11 of our faculty online this afternoon. I'm so glad each of you are with us. One of the things we're going to be talking about now is the Center for Excellence in E-Teaching. I have a very strong passion about this center because it revolves around teaching. If I had to have a motto for this center, it would simply be serving others, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to serve you, the faculty, and in turn, we're going to serve our student body. And in that turn, we're going to have an excellence in what we do. And we're going to talk about teaching effectiveness. Why do we teach? Why do we come to this institution and teach? Simply because serving others is the greatest privilege that we have in life. You know, I can't wait until we get all of our colleges on board here in the center. Every one of you who are online this afternoon are serving in our different colleges across the institution. And I can't wait to get each one of you involved in this process as we go along and serve our students. One of the first steps in teaching that I always say is we want to let our students know how much we appreciate them. And when we do this, we begin to form a bond, because back in 1887, as many of you already know, those of you who are new faculty, if you read anything on the website, one of the things that you'll see all throughout the website is that our motto in 1887 was teach the mind to think, the heart to feel, and the body to act. Wow, isn't that so true today as it was back in 1887? And our second step is that of trust. Wow, I'm going to tell you something. As an online instructor, it's more difficult in that online environment to do this than it is when you're standing face-to-face in front of a group of students, and I'm sure that each one of you know that. But I spend the first week of our 9-week term on trial for my trustworthiness. And I do that in a very diligent way, because I know that if I form that bond in that first week in my classroom, that we're going to form a togetherness and we'll form a team, and that team will get us through those 9 weeks of that class. So I want you to remember that as we go through our teaching steps and what you're going to be able to benefit from this center. Our third step is that make service to your students your top priority. And that's what we're here for. We're here to serve that student. We're here to impart that knowledge to them, so that when we leave this institution and when our students leave this institution, one of the first things that they're going to remember when they leave here is that we serve them, and we serve them well. And that's what I want all of us to remember as we go through this. And we demand excellence. That's our fourth step. Demand and expect excellence from ourselves and from the student. And I think this is so important, because we have to have a true form of excellence if we're going to succeed. I can't stress that enough. Excellence comes from when we're challenging the student and inspiring them to stretch beyond what we call the ordinary to go into the extraordinary. Boy, if I had time to talk to you about one thing this afternoon, it would be taking the ordinary into the extraordinary, because we could take those first steps and really get involved with that student. But we're going to do this through such multimedia activity as we involve the educational technology team, the instructional design team. They're going to work together and mold this into a true learning experience for our students. Well, I tell you what, I have a passion for that, and I can't wait till that becomes a reality here at this institution, because one of the things that we're going to do as you pursue the center and start working is that you're going to be able to apply for what is called an exemplary award through Quality Matters. This is what's going to make a difference also in your course, because it's going to enhance the quality of your curriculum, number one, experience through not only yourself but for our students, and also it promotes that multi-dimensional academic environment that we so desperately need here, not only at this institution, but institutions worldwide. We need that, and we have to have that quality if we're going to expect and demand that excellence. One of the things that we're working on now is a nice website for our faculty to go to. Because we're going to be looking at doing a lot of different things in this center. One of the things is we're going to be doing faculty development workshops. They're going to be done virtually. We're also going to do some on campus. Maybe we can branch out and do some at Montgomery, Dothan, Phoenix City, some of our global campus sites that we have. We're also going to be doing some lunch and learns. Oh, wow. Can't wait till we have these lunch and learns, folks, because at the time we're going to get together and communicate with each other, sit down, and do some brainstorming. So I can't wait till we have those, some of our conferences, workshops. One of the things that we've already got set up now is our foundational giving. So if you want to give to the annual fund, the annual fund comes around. We usually do this once a year, and you'll hear some more about this. You'll be receiving some emails about this. But if you'd like to give and denote your giving to the Center for Excellence in Teaching, you will have a chance to do that. Your money will be earmarked to go through enhancing our technologies within the center. We're going to be doing other things with some of the monies. We may even be doing some scholarships. Some more fundraising in the efforts of sending some faculty to different conferences. So get involved. I want you to get involved in this center as much as you can. And please remember the annual giving at the end of the year. I'm going to close with this because I think Robert Burns said it best when he said the best is yet to be. And that's what Corey Penn repeated all the time. She said, you know, the best is yet to be. Even as she was in those Nazi camps during World War II. And she's the author of The Hiding Place. If you have not read the book, The Hiding Place, read it before you start term 2. Because you will have a different perspective, not only on your teaching, but on life itself. Remember, the best is yet to be. Because you're the instructor for these courses, for these students. And also, for those who are new instructors this time, you are going to have what we call a lead instructor, which leads us into a mentoring program. And I'm going to let my assistant, Ms. Frida Wilson, come up here and give you just an oversight of what the mentoring program is all about. So, Frida, if you will, come up.
Good afternoon. As Dr. Fortune said, if you're teaching in Term 1, you've already been assigned a mentor. And if you're planning to teach in Term 2 for the first time, you will be assigned a mentor before Term 2 starts. The mission of the E-Troy mentoring program is to draw together two professionals who come from the same teaching discipline to exchange ideas about good teaching styles, strategies, and general teaching philosophies. We believe that the mentoring should be a partnership between both the mentor and the mentee. The mentee is responsible as the planner and the participant in their own course development process. But the mentor is there to lead and assist as needed. And if this partnership works like we hope it will be beneficial to both the mentor and the mentee. The most important task of a good mentor is to help the new faculty member achieve excellence and acclimate to E-Troy in the online teaching environment. Your mentor is assigned to you by your department chair. You're assigned a mentor if you are teaching online for the first time, or you may also be assigned a mentor in the future if you're teaching a new course for the first time. Mentors are here to help you with the implementation of your Blackboard course. They're here to familiarize you with the numerous tools that are available within Blackboard. They also make sure that your course is in compliance with the college guidelines and our eTroy procedures. But it's very important to understand that the mentor is not there to develop or evaluate your course content. That is strictly up to you. You develop in your own course content. At the end of the term, both the mentor and the mentee will be asked to complete an end of the term evaluation and to provide feedback about your mentor or your mentee. And these evaluations will be shared with your department chair. And we hope that you have a successful term, either in term 1 or in term 2. And remember to contact your mentor if you have any questions or need assistance within your Blackboard course. At this time, I'll turn it over to Amy, who will discuss information technology.
Hi, my name is Katie Saradakis, and I work with IT. What I'm going to do today is just tell you about IT and a few of the tools that we have available for you. We have a large number of staff members from 5 different locations. We're also broken down into 6 different units, so we can assist you with just various IT-related needs that you may have. Anything I talk about today is going to be available on IT's website. That's going to be at it.troy.edu. And we invite you to go to the IT website and review what we have available out there. There's a few things out there that I'm not going to mention, but you may want to be aware of them, so we invite you to go to their website. The first thing I want to mention are the policies that we have in place. They can be accessed through the IT website or through HR's website. It's very important to go out and read and be aware of those policies. As a few of the main ones are the information technology usage policy, the email policy, and the World Wide Web policy. Some of the tools that we have available that we find beneficial to Global Campus faculty include email, the help desk, the chat we have available through the help desk, our knowledge base, the training portal, LogMeIn, WebEx, and TreasureDeck. I'm going to go through and discuss each one of those in a little bit further detail. The first thing is email. We provide all faculty and staff as well as our students with an email address. It's going to end in @troy.edu. And you should receive your email account during your new employee process. If for some reason you do find that you do not have a Troy email account, let your supervisor know and they can request an account for you or find out what your credentials are. These accounts can be set up in Microsoft Outlook, or you can just access them through your email or through the web portal that we have for email, and that's at mail.troy.edu. And again, that link is available on the IT website as well. The next thing I want to discuss is our help desk. Our help desk allows faculty, staff, and students to request assistance through the internet. The system actually will email you anytime there is an update or we need more information on a ticket. And you can access the help desk at helpdesk.troy.edu. And we have several departments besides just IT that actually are using the help desk now. Those departments, of course, IT is using it for any computer-related issues that you may have. Education technology uses it, which is the remote prompter and Blackboard. Instructional design uses it. And then you may not ever need these other areas, but you may want to be aware of them in case your students do. A lot of student services are available through the help desk, marketing, and university photography, broadcast and digital networks, and IRPE. One thing that we really want everyone to use is our live chat feature. If you need assistance quickly, you can get it through the help desk using live chat. You will find on the help desk, you'll find this little icon that says live chat help desk. You can click on that and that'll take you to our chat feature, which will allow you to chat with IT personnel, I believe also Blackboard personnel, have access to the chat as well, so you can chat with Blackboard related issues as well. If you have a simple question that you know just has a really simple answer, how do you save your email on your cell phone, stuff like that, you can access our vast knowledge base through the help desk. And we have a search feature there where you can just search in certain terms like email, and it will return articles that will answer many common questions that you may have. And again, that's available through our help desk. And if you need assistance and you just want to talk to a person, we actually have an operations desk that works 7 days a week, and they can assist you with simple requests, or they can help get you a ticket created, or even just point you in the right direction if it's an issue that we can't help you with through the help desk. The telephone number for that is going to be area code 334-670-ATLP. And I also have listed here the hours of operation. They operate 7 days a week, so feel free to call if you need to talk to someone about any kind of isolated issue. So just in review, ways you can get assistance through IT, you can submit a help desk ticket, you can chat, you can search the knowledge base, or you can call our phone support line at the number listed below. We also offer an online training portal that includes some of Troy's annual training programs. I know the HR has their harassment prevention training there that everyone has to complete once a year, but there's also other basic IT training like Microsoft Office training and Troy-specific training, things having to do with stable cell and that sort of thing. And we invite you to visit the training portal. At the link below, it's actually kind of a complicated link here, but if you'll go to the faculty and staff page on it.troy.edu, you will find a link there for the online training portal. Next is logging in. Occasionally, if you need assistance through IT, we may contact you and tell you that we need to access your computer in order to resolve the issue. What we'll do is we'll ask you to go to login123.com. We'll give you a 6-digit code, and that will actually allow you to connect directly with our IT staff member who can then access your computer and correct any issues that you may be having. Next is WebEx, and as in with today's orientation, you'll occasionally be invited to attend a meeting or training session remotely. And for these meetings, you'll actually receive an email, which all of you should have received, and you should have already gone through this process, and you should know how it works already. But you'll receive that email invitation, and it will contain all the information you need in order to join the meeting or training session. And like I said earlier, all IT-related resources are available through Troy's IT website. That's going to be it.troy.edu. And next, I'm going to hand it off to Ms. Ronnie Grill.
Good afternoon. I am Ronnie Creel. I serve as Senior Director and Associate Dean for Global Campus Student Services. I also work with Dr. Barbara Eckert in the Academic Support Department for eTroy. We have a lot going on. I want to go over just briefly what we do. You will hear from time to time about the Global Campus Student Services Group as you work with our online students. We do have many times campus-based students who take online classes, but a large contingent, even larger contingent, are the eTroy Global Campus students that we serve. We work out of the University Park location, just off campus here in Troy, Alabama. We have a group, 65 to 70 here at University Park, just dealing with our student services. We are the central area that all official transcripts are sent into by all students. If you are working with a new student, first-time student at Troy University, they may have been admitted on a temporary basis. We may still be waiting on their transcripts. And if they ever come to you and ask where they send them to, certainly reference them to me, but know that University Park is the one location for all receipts of official documents for our online students as well as all students from Troy. We have 21 individuals that serve on our admissions staff. When we get those new students coming in, first as prospects and then as students that we're going to admit into the university, they will work with an admissions representative here at University Park. Once cleared, they'll be turned over to a student advisor. We actually advise all the undergraduate, fully online students and help them with their program questions that they have, classes that they need to be scheduled, and any other questions along the way that they may have. But as you work and serve our graduate students, you, the faculty member, serve as a faculty advisor. We serve as the counselor assisting you or the student with questions outside of the graduate questions they may be asking you. We have 32 people, both student advising and admissions staff, are divided by college, by program, working by Alpha, so that we can tell you, and you could tell at any time who is their advisor or admissions person they're working with. Likewise, when we have a prospective student that's going to be transferring in to Troy University, one of the things they're going to be asking is, guys, how many of my transfer credits will come into Troy? We can provide anyone providing to us an unofficial transcript within 48 hours from that unofficial transcript. We can tell them how many of those credits will transfer into Troy University. And likewise, we have an IT specialist working with us to provide us report information. So if you're working with an online student, they're not getting the service, have questions, maybe related to next term, what are they going to register for, maybe related to how to pay my bill, financial aid type questions, get them to us, we'll get them to the right individuals. But one of the things that you need to write down that's not on this slide, and I think Frida's going to provide it to you in the chat, the phone number anyone can call, whether they're a prospective student, whether they're an enrolled student, faculty member certainly can call, is our call center that we manage out of Global Campus Student Services. The number is 1-800-414-5756. You see the number of calls that we've handled since 2008. The number of calls that we have coming in a year varies between 175,000 and 200,000 a year, with a 90% call resolution on that first call. Those that the call center cannot resolve, they turn over to the individual departments back within Troy University, and we work with the students to get all of those questions answered just as quickly as possible. You also may see on some of the websites, ask@troy.edu. That is an email address. Likewise, it goes to the call center, and they will service that. And keep in mind, the call center is there 24/7, 365. So any day, anytime, an interested constituent, a student can get someone at the call center to speak with them and hopefully resolve their problems. We also work with the Educational Technology Department with the Ask Troy Smart Knowledge Base. When you go out to our website, you will see an Ask Troy Trojan head out there where you can type in your question, any question that you have, and you will be routed to what should be the answer or related questions that may give you the answer. And that serves our students well, but it serves all interested constituents for Troy University. When we have students that come into eTroy Global Campus at Troy University, they will occasionally need some accommodations based on the ADA requirements. We are the first point of contact for eTroy Global Campus online students for that. We will assist the students in applying, notify you as the instructor of what accommodations have been approved. Typical accommodations are listed there for you. There may be others, but if you have a student contact you during the course of the exam and say, well, you know, I should be given double time on the exam, or I may need special accommodations as it relates to larger text on an exam, who knows what it may be. You need to check with us. If you haven't been notified that those accommodations have been in fact certified, they probably haven't, because we're going to notify you at the beginning of the term. There is a process to go through. Health certifications has to be sent, and then the university as a whole throughout all the locations will certify those accommodations and requirements. The academic support unit that works under Dr. Bart Record is responsible for building the online course schedule. So they work with the deans, associate deans, department chairs to make sure we get those courses out there that you serve us in and work with our students in delivering. The academic support units works with you and the department chairs again on scheduling you for those classes, the contracts associated with payment for you for those classes, and a separate unit works under academic support, making sure the online textbooks are set up. There is a large contingent of individuals that works with testing and proctoring, The majority of the classes here at Troy University, our online classes, require at least one proctored exam. We work to make sure the parameters that you have given us, open book, closed book, the use of calculators, the use of Microsoft Excel, we make sure the parameters you've given to us, that the proctors who deliver those exams and oversee those exams with your students, that they follow the parameters so that the exam is taken as you would like for that to be done. We also serve to offer comp exams, Compass exams, the entrance exams, capstone exams, ACTs. So that group stays real busy with the testing and proctoring. Likewise, you heard Dr. Homer speak earlier at the Trojan Cafe. Trojan Cafe is a new component of East Troy Global Campus at Troy University, where we seek to engage students, give them a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and we believe that will lead to greater persistence and higher retention rates for our students if they feel like they belong. We have student spotlights, student stories, an area where they can blog and offer ideas and concerns, and we interact with that and update that on a regular basis. Likewise, within the Trojan Cafe, we have a career services area. It's one thing to get enrolled in college, another thing to work with you faculty members and learn the material, but the final step is getting that job and that career that the students seek, and we work with those students through career services out of the Trojan Cafe. The academic support unit also works with you, the faculty member, and occasionally the students, again, making sure those disability services are offered. And the final item, they deal with student tutoring. The online writing center is one example of that, but other tutoring services are out there and available to our online students. The next area that we're going to bring to you today is Kim Shavers going to speak to you about the technology component of eTroy and the educational technology group.
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Shaver. I'm the Director of Educational Technology, and today I'm going to talk with you briefly about some of the ways that educational technology can help you as an online instructor. Some of our main goals is to make sure, first of all, that you have the tools necessary to help you to be a successful online instructor and for your students to be successful online learners. And that also includes us ensuring that you're comfortable with the technology and to ensure that you never feel like you're out there alone. So that said, I want to introduce you to our staff. This is in-house staff that we have. You can see they're all warriors, Trojan warriors. They are available to assist you anytime that you feel like you need assistance. We're readily available to answer your ticket 7 days a week between the hours of 8 and 5. The ticket system is available 24 hours a day for you to submit a ticket. If you do submit a ticket or your student submits a ticket after 5 p.m., 7 days a week, we will get back to you just as soon as we can. Dr. Fortune's group within the Center for ECT put together a nice faculty orientation organization that you'll find if you have access to Blackboard already under the My Organizations area. This is just a really neat area that you can refer back to often that provides a lot, just a wealth of information on a lot of different areas. I wish I had time to go through each one of these with you because I would love to show you all the ways that we can help you. But at the same time, I'm just going to hit on a couple of the high points, some of the most important areas that we feel that you'll need for those assistance with. One is ADA compliance tools, and there you'll see Camtasia, Dr. Relief, test availability exceptions. Those are just a few of the ways that we can help you ensure that if you do have a student with a documented disability, that we are available to assist you. The other area is with retention. We all know how important retention is, so we want to ensure that we provide you with all the tools that you need to feel comfortable with it and as you work to retain our students and help them through your course each term. I wish I had time again to go over each one of these, but just briefly, you'll hear a lot about the Starfish system, and if you'll refer back to that organization, within Blackboard, it'll give you a lot more information about how Starfish is important to you as an instructor and how it can help you and your students. Again, we are available 7 days a week between the hours of 8 and 5. We do offer live chat for both instructors and students 5 days a week, Monday through Friday between 8 and 5. And instructors and students also can put in a ticket 24 hours a day. If your students come to you and they're really struggling with Blackboard, students also have access to a student resources tab at the top of their page within Blackboard. So I highly recommend that you put that information in your course, or at least point it out to your students that if they do feel like they need to view tutorials or need more information on how to work within your course within Blackboard, then to go to that information and see if that helps. Now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Karen Shader of Instructional Design.
Thank you, John. Hi, my name is Dr. Karen Shader from Instructional Design, and welcome to Troy University, and especially to eTroy and Teaching Online. My group helps you all. We work very closely with the faculty with new course design. Any faculty member that might be teaching online for the first time or have a new book or a program that may be redesigned, we'll be working with faculty for that. We offer many faculty development opportunities and training on using the technologies and instructional design or design approaches and that can be used in the online course. And then on an ongoing basis, as Dr. Fulmer had mentioned earlier today, this is not an ending process. We have a need to maintain our courses and innovate over time. What shapes our work is an understanding of the online student and working with you as a faculty member in your understanding of the online student to design and develop and assist you in design and developing an online course. What shapes our work is you and what your needs are as a faculty member, where we can most help you in designing and developing an online course. There are also college and department-related initiatives that we work with the department chairs and the deans and assistant deans on. Theories and models drive the work that we do and the information that we provide to you, adult learning theory, instructional design, motivational messages. There's a lot of research in this area that's ongoing and constantly coming out to share evidence-based best practices for the online environment, and we'd like to keep up to date with that and share that information with you. We understand that you're very busy with many, many things, teaching your students, staying up to date with your own area of research, administration kind of activities, community service, and all the expectations that are required of you as a faculty member. This is one area that we can help you with is designing and developing your online course. And as Kim mentioned, current and emerging technologies, they change, they come in, they're modified, and we want to help you use those. We're results-oriented, we're very committed to student retention, satisfaction, but most of all that we're helping you as the faculty member in creating an online environment that promotes learning. Our design process is systematic and is also iterative and reflective. The designers will contact you as a new instructor to provide you more information about that. Just on a term-to-term basis, you will receive an email from me that overviews the recommended timeline for preparing your course. We encourage you to create your courses in a dev shell and then copy them down on a term-by-term basis into your term course shells. And then if you are working on a new course or you're first time teaching a course, the instructional designer will reach out to you and work on one-on-one
and conduct what we call a detailed design review to help with some of the initial design work of your course. We give you a completion date, and then we go into what's called a course term review, and you will also receive feedback from the designers about their review of some basic criteria and the readiness of your course. We have a very hard date for when we would like for you to have your courses available to students, which is Thursday, the day before classes begin at 5 o'clock, and that's when we start running reports to provide to administration with regard to course open and readiness. We also have a web page where we collaborate with all of the other areas in eToy to provide resources to you and update them on an ongoing basis. On the faculty instructional design area, we have materials that will help you in planning and developing your courses. There are also a number of professional development organizations, including open education resource organizations, where you can look for content that may be helpful to you and transformative to your classrooms. Linking from this page also are tutorials on how to use the technologies, and if you're looking for something just in time, this is a great place for you to go. We also offer some scheduled training sessions. You can look at that through the faculty development area on the resources page. The faculty development coordinators are available to assist you with one-on-one training and development or answering any questions that you may have, and so are the designers in helping you come up with some ideas and designing and developing their courses. So we look forward to working with you and meeting you, and I'm going to turn this back over to Dr. Fortune.
Thank you, Dr. Shader. Colleagues, this concludes our presentation for today. We certainly appreciate your attendance. At this time, we're going to take a short survey. I'm going to stop sharing my desktop. This survey should take you approximately about 2 to 3 minutes to take it. I'm sorry, about 2 to 3 minutes to take this survey. So I'm going to stop sharing my desktop, and I'm going to open up the survey for you to take.
There were 11 faculty, and then Anya and Donna and April.